Laredo, take us out.
Take out.
All right. Take flight each and every Friday night. Join the fun and let's go off-world. Geek out with us live where the nerdiness will thrive. Buckle up and let's go off-world. Toys, comics, pop culture news, movies and so much more. Matthew, Jesse, Curtis, and Sean are your guides on this fun-filled tour. Blast off! Take flight each and every Friday night. Join the fun and let's go off-world. Let's go off-world. Let's go off-world. Hey, hey, hey. Let's go off-world tonight.
Woohoo! Welcome to OffWorld. Yeah, we got an interesting one tonight. We got some prizes. We hit our 300 subscriber goal a week or two ago. So we're gonna do some prizes. We're gonna talk some movie moments that make grown men cry. We're gonna have some fun. So no douche tonight. So for any of you that were tuning in specifically for the douche, you know who you are. You can go ahead and leave because he's not coming. But we do have Joe and Jesse. Joe, how you doing, sir?
Very good. Very good. I'm excited to be here. I was feeling tired. It's been hot at work lately, but man, that theme song's got me pumped up. Kick the tires and light the fires.
There you go. It's a good theme song, that's for sure. Jesse, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. The earphones are plugging my ears, and that feels weird. I wish I could hear in the headphones my own voice, but I can't. I'm doing all right. It's a bit warm here, but thank goodness for AC and all that jazz.
All right. I'm doing well as well. Folks, we did say in our promotion for this, we're going to do a prize for every 25 people in the chat. Right now, we're at 14. So tell your friends, tell your mama, whoever you got to tell, bring them in here. Every 25 people in here, we're going to do another prize. So
I thought it was 20.
25. Every 25 up to 20 prizes.
Okay.
20 that you're thinking of. So up to 500 people. I don't think we're going to get that many, but just throwing it out there. So since we didn't have the douche tonight, we had to bring in somebody. We had to, somebody's going to really fit in with us, because we're going to be talking about movie moments that make us cry and stuff. We're going to be very vulnerable. We needed that soft, cuddly, lovable, kind of warm blanket that you can kind of cuddle up to. And what better warm, cuddly blanket than Sean Scavarna? How's it going, Sean?
Hi, guys. I look like a mushroom-headed person.
Welcome back to the Off-World. How you doing, sir?
I am doing all right. It is great to be back. Thank you guys for thinking of me, especially with crying moments in movies, because the minute I told my wife that's the subject of tonight, she's like, so you're naming everything you've seen ever, basically. And I'm like, I got to whittle it down to 3, but yeah, So.
Yeah, we kind of came up with this at the last minute, and then we started putting stuff together, and Joe's like one of those macho guys that he's like, I don't ever cry at anything, so I'll try to do my best, but
Joe gave me his picks first.
Yeah, but
there's only 3 movies I've ever cried during, so
yeah,
easy.
I think it's more that Joe doesn't watch a lot of movies. Therefore,
that might be it.
Possible.
Meanwhile, I was trying to pick my list, and I was bawling like a fucking baby. I was just like, dude, man, it was bad.
I feel like someone was like, "You're going to be able to fill an episode with you 4 talking about your top 3 each." I was like, I could fill 2 hours by myself.
I could at least do another 4 after that. I think that's how ridiculous I get. Ever since having kids, that's what really did me in. It's like
Yeah.
everything got more emotional with me after kids. So yeah,
I think for me it's the low testosterone.
it could be that too for me. I don't know. But,
All right, well, let's get into some toy pickups. We will start off with Joe. Joe, you know, we got a lot of feedback last week. People really are enjoying the new camera. Or not the new camera, but the new internet that allows us to see you through your camera.
Yeah,
So,
you know, I was just appreciating that myself because I do a lot of face reactions to the things that you guys say that never really came through before. And now when I react to things that are people can actually see me reacting, so I need to be cautious with my reactions.
well, we're excited to be able to actually see your toys. So yeah, show us what you got.
No more balls of tissue for my when I'm sharing things. So last week Trevor at the Blue just sent me a text, and Nerd Zoic, they have their daily steals for things that are on sale, and Trevor knew I collected the new D&D NECA lines, and you didn't like my fuzzy face, Kevin? But the new NECA D&D figures with the paint homages to the figures from the 80s.
Okay. So it's the same figure but with a new paint deco.
Yeah, they're pretty much the exact same figures. A little bit less accessories, but painted up to look like the figures. I really like this one with the green flames instead of the realistic looking flames.
See, I saw that one at the store, and I didn't realize that Warduke was different than the other one. So, gotcha.
Yeah. Well, the paint, I mean, they're just repaints. The paint quality is way less, but it's an homage to the original figures. So, I was pretty excited to pick those up. So, yeah.
Anything else, or that's all?
That's pretty much it. I got a couple more swigs, but I don't think I need to show those off still.
All right.
Journey to 1,000. So,
well, let's throw Jesse up here. Jesse.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay.
I know you just went to a convention this past weekend, so I'm sure you grabbed something from there. What do you got? We would think that.
I did get something, and before you yell at me,
okay.
I got this for research purposes.
Okay.
I did pick up the con exclusive Savage Crucible figure.
Oh,
why the hell would I yell at you?
I don't know.
That's the Eric Miller one, right?
The colors aren't pulling up great on here. But I wanted to get it because I knew it was the one he worked on, and I wanted to test one of these out, see how they are. I love
the translucent weapon. Oh, yeah. So cool.
Yeah, he's got two of those, two of the regular ones. The weapons are cool. The details are really cool. I mean, it's a fun figure. It's definitely not something I'm going to be jumping down the rabbit hole of that whole series. But for a lizard guy, it's pretty cool. It's going to go up with my display of all my variety of stuff. But before I went to the convention, I did walk in to Target and found the retro Iron Man She-Hulk, which I love because she is like way bigger than the other She-Hulks.
Wow.
Especially the TV show one.
She's also bulkier.
Yeah.
She's very buff.
Like, I don't know, this probably isn't going to show up very well, but like if she was even oh
yeah.
If show She-Hulk was closer to this She-Hulk size, I would have been much happier. I mean, I still like the show, but she was not big enough. But I really like the colors are great. It just reminds me of stuff, when Sean got me into comics in like 91, like some of the John Byrne She-Hulk stuff back in the day, the way like they've got the green highlights on the hair and everything is really cool. And I did get my Outpost Axius all in, and I'm not going to show all of them off, but I wanted to show off 2 of my favorites from the line or the wave. The Altar Xylovis, the colored gray. I think the colors on his head are really cool.
Purple,
and
gray.
We get the both full bare arms. You know, the other one had the armor on the left arm.
I think they're alien arms.
And yes. And Kalian Shun, I thought she's really cool. It's a little disappointing you can't put the head on, like the soft goods with the soft goods on, but I was probably going to show her off this way anyway. So I just think this is a really cool figure. The whole wave is really cool. I really like the colors in it. Yeah, just a lot of fun. So
Beautimus.
Yeah.
I've not gotten mine yet. They should arrive sometime next week. So, but nice. I will be out of town, so that sucks. But that's all right. Sean, do you have any toy pickups since last we saw you?
Well, no, I've been good, but what I did do, because my schedule has been the way it always is, where it was crazy with work and all this, there's a ton of backlog that I've never gotten through.
Yeah.
So the ones that I opened just recently, I'll share those, and these to this day still make me so happy to see them on my shelf. I'll start with the NECA movie figures for the TMNT. I got all 4 of them. I had the 2-packs.
You know,
I finally got those opened.
I got the 4-pack from the second movie.
Yeah.
And it's sitting in my garage. I took it out of the slip cover, but I like the way that it's displayed in the box.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got it sitting in my garage to where it's like the first thing I see when I pull in my garage with my van.
Yeah.
Like I'm like itching to break them out and mess with them. You know, but I like the way it looks in there. So yeah.
I don't blame you. I was the same way having the 2-packs for a while. And this one night I was like, I got a little bit of time before I'm going to go to bed. And I said, I got to open these finally. And I just went through them. I had a blast. The only thing, I had a QC issue with one of Raph's hands where when I pulled it out and I wasn't really, I wasn't pulling hard on the thing, but the connection for the wrist joint ended up splitting. So now I'll just have to get another one of those somewhere down the road. But I made it work with his other hand instead of, worrying about the other thing. But I mean, these to this day, they still make me happy. I look at them and I'm like, I literally have legit figures of these versions of the Turtles that I've loved ever since 1990. And that's what it's about to me. It's the joy of some of that stuff, and just having, like, it was the same with classics. When I got classics, I'm like, holy crap, I got a He-Man that can stand up. He doesn't have to squat anymore. It's the greatest day ever. And then getting these, it's the same thing. It's like watching some Jim Henson mastery just on my desk with those suits. So I love them.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because I saw, trying to pull it up because I saw a photo of those earlier and trying to remember what Instagram. Anyways, I'll find it in a second, but it was those Turtles, and it was somebody that did some photography with it.
Nice.
And it's like a scene where they're like coming down the stairs and there's like one of the Foot Clan at the bottom where one of the Turtles is like stepping on him. And it looks like a scene out of the movie. Like, they're so good.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I got to find that and show you guys because you'll like it. But anyways, talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I guess we're assuming Curtis doesn't have any pickups this week.
I do, but I got to find this first because it's going to bug me to not show you guys. So
this is a good opportunity for us to plug our new show. We are doing a D&D campaign.
Heck yeah, we are.
Based off of...
We are?
Some of us are. But our first episode is up and on the channel. So a Legion's Quest is available for your viewing pleasure. If anybody hasn't checked it out now, I would encourage just give it a try. the first episode was super fun. It's us and Nate and Trevor from Legion's Lounge. So it was a good time. I had fun. I am the dungeon master, the controller of the strings. And, we're kind of learning on the fly that some of us are new to the game. And I'm new to D&D Beyond. So we're kind of figuring out the technical aspects as we go, but I thought the first adventure went well, and there's more to come down the pipeline soon. So if you haven't checked it out, give it a try. You might actually like it. I think it's a good time.
And it is available in an audio form as well, right, Jesse?
Yeah, I'm using a cast to broadcast to all the different things. I still got to figure out how to get it on Apple and some of the other ones, but it is on Spotify for sure. Just look up A Legion's Quest, and you should be able to find it.
Beautiful. All right, I found that picture. Let me share this. All right. Here we go. So it's parts_may_vary on Instagram. And yeah, so I saw this shot yesterday or today, and I was like just itching to open up that 4-pack in the garage because they're so good. I mean, I'm not a huge NECA fan. Like I've not had a lot from NECA that I've really enjoyed, but man, these things are just fantastic. I don't know that as for movie figures, I don't know that they could have been done any better. So
yeah, the thing about these for me is like once they made the big ones, I have those on the shelf over here, and then these, I'm like, I'm kind of done. Like that's the Turtles I've always wanted, to be honest. And the fact that we got them in any way, shape, or form is mind blowing to me. So these are the pinnacle of what I've always hoped for out of the Turtles, at least as of right now.
They're awesome. I mean, I love the Mezco ones. I think they're probably the best version of the Turtles that have been made. But there's something about those movie ones that really just hits me. So before I go to my pickups, Jesse, I know we're at 22 watchers right now, but we were at 25 for a second. So I think maybe we should do a giveaway. Can you run the giveaway tool while I get my stuff ready?
Yeah, sure. What hashtag are we using?
Well, I'm going to, let me throw it up here. I'll show the giveaway first. So the first giveaway is a Spawn Batman 2-pack. And I know what you're saying. Wait a minute. This isn't a Spawn Batman 2-pack that they made. And you're right. Because this is a Spawn that came with Todd McFarlane. And this is a Batman that I needed for a Build-A-Figure part. And now they've been put together into one Spawn and Batman 2-pack. So there you go.
It's like if Spawn and Batman were Voltron.
Yeah. So if you are the lucky winner, you will get this Spawn and Batman 2-pack. So Jesse will find a good hashtag for us and let us know. In the meantime, as far as pickups that I had for the week, I did get this version of Batman from McFarlane. And I had talked a few weeks ago about the Nightfall Batman, which is just amazing. And it's in my Justice League set. But I also kind of have a shelf with like the Bat family, basically. And this is kind of a really good one to just put up there with the rest of the Bat family. So I got that one for that shelf. This next one, some people may have seen. This is actually a custom that I put together this week. This is Green Lantern Guy Gardner that I put together. This is using the jacket, which is like a long trench coat, really, from the Hush McFarlane figure, and I cut the bottom off of it. Took the Green Lantern logo from John Stewart, the older one, and kind of dremeled a hole out of that, put that in it, painted it all green. And this head is from I don't even know the reference in the comic, but I guess at one point Jim Gordon was Batman, and it's Jim Gordon as Batman is what that head is. So I thought it worked pretty well for Guy Gardner. So I saw the list come out of what they've got coming up for the next 6 months or so, and I didn't see him on the list, and I needed one. So there you go.
There you go. Make it happen.
And then I'll save those. I got this actually just showed up today, and I was not expecting it. For anybody who watches Purple Gang Gang, there is a reoccurring character on there called Glumpy, and Glumpy doesn't play no games. He has now been brought to life by Anthony Halseal. He's got parts out there to make your own Glumpy. I did order a set of that. But last week, if you tuned in and saw us last week, we talked about cartoon theme songs. You can't find that now because we got 22 copyright strikes and we got that taken off because we played some videos. So if you missed us last week, you missed one of the great episodes we ever did. And you're never going to be able to see it. But when we talked about that, one of the cartoons that we talked about was Cops and Crooks. And I found out that it was on Tubi later that night. And I've been watching it like all week. Anthony knew that. And he sent me this long arm. So nice. I don't know if this is one he found or he had in his collection or what, but he sent it with the Glumpy parts. So that's really awesome. So thank you, Anthony Halseal. And then the piece de blah, 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 whatever. I don't speak French.
There's definitely no la in there.
Blah, 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 blah.
You're going a little further east, I think.
I got the Chrome Silverhawks in the VAC metal. After we saw Jonathan was talking about them, Jonathan Hedgehog, and these things are spectacular. They come with a Super 7 branded cloth to wipe your fingerprints off of because it goes up really quick, really easily. And you can tell that if you move the arms and stuff around a lot, like it will get loose really quick. So this is really kind of a situation where you put it into a pose, leave it, and put it on your shelf. You're not going to be messing around with these. But this is how I wanted my Silverhawks to look. This is amazing. The steel heart, and then got Quicksilver here. And yeah, I mean, just spectacular. So, and they pick up really good reflection off of them. So if you're like outside, you got natural sunlight and stuff. It
blind
really
drivers in the neighborhood.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, these things are fantastic.
Now, Curtis, is that lip prints I'm seeing on them, or am I mistaken?
There may have been some lip rubbing on certain parts of those figures. But I cannot confirm nor deny. But those things are fantastic. I know they've been very hard to find. They are not the Super 7 figures that you're going to see at Big Bad Toy Store for $15 or whatever, like really super cheap. These things were ordered in much lower quantities. So they're harder to find. If you want them, you need to, as soon as you see it, you need to jump on it because they're going to be gone pretty quick. So
speaking of jump on it, let's roll that first wheel. Well, let me.
Well, do we even tell them what the? Yeah.
No. Let me bring up.
We're gonna roll it with no people. That's the secret to our prizes tonight. We're gonna do 50 prizes, but nobody can put in a hashtag for it.
Curtis, so you win.
This is for the Spawn Batman not 2-pack. Spawn Bat.
There you go.
Hashtag Spawn Bat. We'll let this run for a little bit and then we'll spin the wheel.
And keep in mind, we've got tons of prizes. We just need the peoples. So tell your friends, tell your mama. Every 25 people, we're going to do another prize. So,
and do they need to be subscribed to win?
Oh, well, yeah, for sure. Be subscribed, like all that good stuff. Also, we've got some 400 and 500 subscriber prizes that we're going to be giving away. The 400 is you, Joe. What can you tell the folks what we've got lined up for number 400?
Well, I would have appreciated an advance notice on that because I can't remember the name of the figure. It's that
green bird
green bird thing.
It's the green bird thing.
It's the dinosaur one.
Yeah, and at 500 we've got a Brontus. So
Beatrix.
So there you go. Something if we hit those numbers tonight, we'll give them away tonight. Just saying. Get your friends, have them subscribe. Let's go. So that is toy pickups. I think we're good there.
Archaeopteryx.
There we go.
I'm sorry.
The name of that character is Archaeopteryx.
Oh, I thought you were correcting my French from earlier. Gotcha.
No, you were trying to say piece de
That's
resistance.
Latin.
There you go.
Curtis.
Yeah. Okay. So, Event Horizon.
Actually, I think yes. Well, hold on. Nah, don't strobe it. I wanted to pull this
I'm
up.
having a seizure.
We were talking about Sean's Ninja Turtles there for a second, so I wanted to bring this up real quick.
All right.
I saw this today, and I don't know if anybody's excited about it, but I know it's potentially a cool thing for viewers because we get a lot. We have similar interests.
Hey, Anthony Alciel's out there. Anthony, I just talked about you. Thank you for the long arm. You're awesome.
So this is the Super 7 is going to be doing the 2003 Ninja Turtles, which I just thought was cool. I don't know if how they're doing it. It's a new RAF. Depending on what the body looks like, I might get it. The Raphael at least, but just thought it was cool because it's been a while since anything from 2003 has been new. So,
okay, I got to ask you a question because I never saw 2003 Turtles. Is it worth going back and watching? Like, if you didn't, I guess my question is not whether you enjoyed it at the time, but now, if I've never seen it, is it worth going back and finding it and watching it at this point?
I don't remember. I don't think I've seen it since it was on, and I only saw an episode here or there. It's just Turtles.
Okay, because literally the only person I saw excited for this was Maverick, and I mean, that's not really a glowing endorsement. So, yeah.
I mean, I had all the toys. I only got to see some of the episodes just because, where I was in life at the time, I didn't have access to whatever channel it was on, but
Gotcha.
So coming soon from Super 7.
Well, that could be an Event Horizon. It's coming up, right?
Sure.
Okay.
But I do have a couple slides loaded. So we got a couple movies coming up soon.
Okay.
Let's see.
I've got something too. If you want me to throw it in at the end, or
why not? Go ahead and run yours now.
The House of Dragon getting ready to start. We're less than a week away now from season 2, so I am super excited. Can't wait to watch that. I'm guessing they're going to do it like last year, where they dropping them 1 week at a time. But yeah, really excited for that.
Fair enough. I mean, nope, I'm not going to say what just came into my head because that's going to get clipped by Purple Gang Gang and used to my chagrin.
They're at Heroes Con this weekend. They're probably not either watching or have the wherewithal to actually cut clips right now. So,
well, you pulled that one out pretty smoothly.
Thank you. Well, it wasn't French.
So, since we're on Event Horizon,
you got to blink it. You got to
no.
Okay. All right.
I think we have to put like a certified warning up if we do that. Coming soon to theaters, I believe this is next weekend. A Quiet Place Day 1.
Beautiful.
Which I've enjoyed both movies in this franchise so far. I don't know if it's how far they can keep pumping the story. But the trailer for this one looked intriguing, so I will check this out eventually.
I'm very excited about that. I've loved the first 2 movies, and doing it as kind of a prequel, seeing like how it started, I think is a super neat idea. So yeah, I'm very excited for this.
Let's see what else. I'm
gonna jump in just real quick with this. Mira just caught up with Delicious in Dungeon, so that's an anime. My son was watching it, and I just sat down and watched a couple episodes with him a few weeks ago, and it's really fun. It's kind of a D&D style, like magical monsters and things like that, but also when they kill the monsters, there's a dwarven chef who knows how to make really good food out of them. It's a really super strange concept, but also kind of hilarious. So
where can folks find that?
on a TV somewhere. I'm actually not sure what streaming service he was watching. Maybe Crunchyroll, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
He was already watching it. I just came in the middle, but it gets a soft recommend for me. I didn't watch the whole thing, but what I did watch was super entertaining.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed what I did there, but
Yes.
I changed the layout so that we could see Jesse's face, even with the hashtag up there, and because I was missing Jesse. So,
well,
for sure.
Yeah.
Shucks. Okay, Sean, Joe, either of you going to check this one out?
I have not seen any of these. Big surprise.
Oh, so, man. You got to.
I would strongly recommend the first one, and you have to watch it in as quiet an environment as possible, like phones off, distractions off, yeah.
All right, cool. I'll put it on this.
It's good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I only saw the first one, and I don't remember why I didn't see the second one yet, but it's cool that this is coming out. It's one that when I finally get to the second one, I'll actually probably get to this one shortly after because it'll probably be on streaming by that point. But but it's like the previews and stuff. It's definitely one of those, like, I'm more into this concept than Independence Day any day of the week because it reminds me of Independence Day with how that trailer is set up and all that, But yeah, I'm not like, ooh, I have to go see it. But if I get a chance, I'll be like, sweet, I finally get to see it. So.
Excellent. Yes, watching it in a quiet place is definitely like that was the most well-behaved movie theater audience I've ever experienced besides the Lego movie, which I saw completely by myself. There was no one else in there opening night.
Nobody ruined any wedding proposals or anything.
That was before the movie. That wasn't during the actual movie.
I'm just thinking, like, people that worked at the theater when you went to the Lego movie, that when you were leaving, they just gave you a gold star because you were such a good person and you walked out. And you're like, yeah, I was the best. I was the best audience ever in that place, man.
I keep holding my breath, but yeah, I think seeing that. I mean, it wasn't packed, but it was a pretty full theater for the first Quiet Place, and it was. Because sound is so important in that movie, it really helped that the audience was appreciative of that, and not just it wasn't like Dooch rolling around in his bags of chips when he leaves us voice messages in the chat, but as excited as I am for this, I think it's the next slide. I believe it comes out the same day. I'm really looking forward to Kevin Costner's Horizon: An American Saga. So there's a chapter 1 coming out June 27th, which I thought it said June 21st today, but this might be an old picture. And then the second part is in August. Kevin Costner and Westerns is just a gold mine. I think, Dances with Wolves, it's a great movie. It's really well done. I really, really like, was Open Range, I think, is one of my favorite Westerns. So I'm really excited to see this. I don't know what the story is. I don't know who else is in it. But I'm intrigued by the premise of this. So
have you ever seen them do it like this, where they've doing one part of a movie and then 2 months or whatever later doing the second?
Nope.
I can't remember of any sequels that were even within the same year, much less 2 months apart. That's a little wild.
Yeah, in theaters, not on a streaming service. I'm really intrigued. Kind of kicking off summer and late summer for this. I'm really intrigued by this, and I'm sure it's going to be. I think he's directing it.
I mean, if the first part is good, if it's well received, I would imagine it's still going to be in theaters by the time the second part comes out. And then that would be kind of interesting to watch, jump from one theater to the other and do a double feature with it. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if some places do like a special event for that. But this has just been kind of a sleeper building in the background. So I'm really intrigued by this.
I watched the trailer. I like Westerns, but the acting looks good. The production quality looks really good. It looks like the story is going to be like super depressing though. So I'm kind of on the fence with this one.
Okay.
I just don't like to be sad.
I mean, if we do this show premise a year from now, we can probably add this one to it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Also, did you mean to pull up a movie called Horizon during your Event Horizon section?
I mean, I did. I did not make that connection.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sean,
two more real quick.
Sean, you
Sean, yeah, sorry.
this one?
Honestly, that I've heard on social media about it, and I don't know. Westerns and me are kind of like, I don't really have a huge amount of interest compared to other things, and what I get to watch is so limited lately that this one I don't think is going to be on my radar this year at all.
Gotcha.
So
we'll watch Bone Tomahawk next time you come over.
Yeah, I know Curtis loved that one, right?
Yeah, no, that one. That was. I mean, the movie's not bad, but that one part is like way too much for me. Way too much.
All right, two more real quick. I know a lot of folks are not very excited about this. I'm gonna give it a chance because I love the first one, and I believe this is setting up to be a sort of sequel. All right, Curtis is gonna not say anything. He removed himself. Oh, he's back. Just moving along, but that's coming up soon. And of course, Deadpool Wolverine. We've talked a lot about this, but I think
I've actually already bought my tickets for this for the whole family, and we're super excited. I think it's the first time we'll be at. I think the last family movie that we saw together was the Mario Brothers movie. So yeah, we're really looking forward to this.
Very cool.
Yeah, this one's a date day for me and my wife because I didn't take her to see the first Deadpool, but we saw Deadpool. Second one, we actually took a weekend, had my mom come up, hang out with the kids, and we did like a date day. And this is another one because she loves Ryan Reynolds, but she also loves her some Hugh Jackman. So I'm just gonna be sitting there going, I'm neither one of these guys, but you got to take me home at the end of the day. Deal with it,
So is she excited for the Gregarian character from Rising Suns Wave? The huge yak man?
No, she has no idea about that one. But yeah,
I do.
This one, I'm like pumped for though. It's time.
Speaking of time, I think it's time to spin the wheel. Although there's only 13 entries on this wheel right now. I mean, we need to get those numbers way up.
Yeah, I mean, we did not say one prize per person or any of that stuff. So, I mean, you don't have to hold out for something better. Yeah, just put it in. Hashtag spawn bat. Let's go. And then we'll get the next prize right up there. So, yeah, get that in there. We'll give it a couple more minutes.
Bring that up just again. All right, there's some more. The numbers are going up a little bit. Come on.
All right,
go invite your friends. We had a huge crowd for the after party 2 weeks ago. Come on.
Oh, man.
I mean, we're trying to give stuff away here.
We're trying to give stuff away.
I've got boxes and boxes of stuff next to me. We want to give it away. We really do.
See a bunch of grown-ass men sobbing over movies that made them sad.
There you go.
Who doesn't love that?
Yeah, let's try to give this another like 10 seconds, and we're gonna spin this thing so that we can get the next one going. And you guys can invite your friends and everything, and we'll go from there.
3, 2, wait, I'm gonna hold on. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, who's your daddy?
So exciting. Eddie,
nice.
Right on, man.
Congratulations. Hey folks, if you have if you can watch it live 6:00 Sunday nights, Latin Legions on YouTube, or you can check the replay after if you can't catch it live. But Eddie and his pals do a really fun toy show on Sunday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you check that out.
Israel Ramirez was on this last Sunday. It was a really good episode. I enjoyed it.
So Eddie, hit me up with your information and I will get that out to you. And for the next one, we'll go ahead and just get this going. I know we're not quite at 50 people yet, but this was the one that we said that we would give away at whatever it is, 300 that we're at. So
like
let me
the
go
movie.
ahead. Yeah. I don't really enjoy that movie, but
Not the movie, the number.
Gotcha. Here we go. It is a brother mandibulus. Now it is loose. It's going to come from the Dooch. So I'm just throwing it out there. Not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it's a loose brother mandibulus from the Dooch.
But it's also brother mandibulus. So
correct.
Does it really matter if it's in the box?
Yes.
Does anybody have too many brother M's?
You can't have enough brother mandibulus.
You can't.
Even if you already have one as that character, you could definitely use that armor and colors for something else. It's just a cool build. So
it's a very cool figure.
Beauty. All right. Well, what's the hashtag for this guy?
Super original Broman.
Nice. Nice. All right. So put in those bromans, and we'll go ahead and move on to our main subject, which is movie moments that made grown men cry.
That's why you zoomed in on me. I see how it is.
Are we skipping this week in theaters?
Oh, I thought we would do it after. You want to do that first? Yeah, I mean, we can do this week in theaters first. Normally we do it right before the end, before lightning round, but we won't have a lightning round tonight. So I figured we'd finish with it. So
I mean, according to the layout of these, Twit comes.
I don't know who put those in there like that.
I did, because that was the way it was on the Dooch agenda that night.
Here you go. Now I fixed it. All right. So primary objective. We are talking about movie moments that made grown men cry. We each picked out 3. We sent some pictures to Jesse. He put together a slideshow. I don't know what the order is. Jesse, you'll have to tell us how we're doing this.
All right. Well, may I be our guide through
the tiers?
Absolutely. The tiers of the angels, or whatever we're calling ourselves. Why does it keep going to the wrong side? No. What are you doing?
Because I switched that thing.
Why is it?
You have to do a different layout. There we go. Now you're good. All right.
What? Wait, no, we're still on the wrong side.
Here, you got to do layout 7, I think it is. Hold on. Custom layout.
We're professionals.
There you go.
Don't try this at home, folks.
Okay. Don't call me a professional. Did the screen get smaller? What is going on? I don't
think so. I think it looks great.
Okay. So, starting at number 3, because we're going to count 3 to 1, right? So,
sure.
Off-World Tear Jerkers. Number 3. We're not playing scenes. This is just a scene.
Do we have the right order on the side here, or do you need to adjust us?
How did I have this? I think it goes Joe.
Okay.
So we'll go Joe, Curtis, Sean, and Jesse.
Okay.
So Joe, this is your number 3 pick. I'm going to move to the slide, and you can just go ahead and talk.
Yeah, no copyright strikes. We're not playing clips
through it. Oh, let's take this Broman down. If I can find the button.
Well, it's only just covering Joe's name. Yeah, we want to get those. We want to get people putting them in there. So.
There's already 20 in there.
Can you do one of those ones that go across the bottom?
Sure.
Yeah, the tickers.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
All
Joe.
right. Jess is going to put in a ticker with the hashtag, but Joe, go ahead and talk about this one.
Okay. I put this one number 3. This was kind of a strange pick for me. I watched the original Independence Day in the theater, and I can't even explain it. But when all those people were so excited for the aliens, and they climbed to the top of the building, and they've got their signs and everything, and they were so happy. And then, spoiler, the aliens shoot a beam and blow up the building with all the excited people in it. And it made me feel terrible. And I actually choked up in the theater and was super embarrassed because I wasn't even sure why it got to me so much. I guess because even if you would consider them dumb for doing what they did, they were so innocent and so excited that I genuinely felt awful for them. So, and it's not really a sad scene in the sense that it's not built up to make you feel sad, but for some reason just really got to me. So this is my
like
number
Mira
3.
says, it's okay to feel your feelings, Joe.
It's really not. you know, as a man, I feel like I need to push them down and suppress them. So that way at a later date, something minor sets me off and I just explode. So
that's how it works. Yeah.
I totally was not going in this to judge anybody because, like I said, when I was putting my list together, because I wanted to make sure the 3 that I picked were the 3 that really affected me most. And so I'm watching clips and I'm bawling. I mean, absolutely bawling like a baby. So I didn't want to judge anybody for their picks. With that being said, Joe, I laughed my ass off at this moment of the movie. I thought this was Darwinism at its finest. Like these freaking idiots up there with their signs and thinking that these aliens are saving them and taking them to who knows where. And they're all excited. I'm like, if there's anybody in this movie that deserves to die, it's these people. So, you know, you can feel like Mira said, feel your feelings. But Joe, I just want you to know, I laughed my ass off.
Yeah, like I said, the scene wasn't set up to be sad, but there's something about just like a group of innocent people. Just, I mean, whether intelligent or not, they were innocent, and when they get blown up, it bothered me. It bothered me that the whole city got destroyed with the people in it. It was just, I don't know. This one hit me in the feels, and like I said, I can't really explain it. I know that the movie didn't set it up that way. There was no sad music to, you know, draw out that emotion or anything. It just it hit me that just a whole bunch of innocent people just died for no good reason, and it bothered me. So
here's what my take would be though. Like I definitely wouldn't feel bad for these sign people because they're morons, but within that city as it got destroyed, right, there is somebody that just finished a long work day. I mean, Joe, you know this. You work in the mines. You're spending multiple hours working overtime. And there's some guy that just was at the tail end of his shift, ready to clock out, go home, get maybe a day or two off, was ready to just relax, and then boom, he's blown away. That's the guy I feel bad for.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I could totally see that. That's like that meme where the guy just got off of work after working like a 16-hour shift, and he's heading to his car, and Superman grabs it and smashes the villain with it. You know,
I love that meme.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's all relatable. And again, like I said, I can't really explain it, but it was in a public place and.
Sorry, Trevor with the you choked up when I was down to 1 death save, Joe.
Well, Trevor, I said innocence. I would describe you with a lot of flattering words, but innocent would not be among those. So,
but
I feel
we didn't do anything. We didn't do anything to that. Well, that's it. That, you know, if you want to know what that's all about, go watch or listen to Allegiance Quest.
Well, I will give you one little thing that we learned from that, which is if you're a wizard, do not move closer to the monster. That's the only thing I'll tell you. So,
I mean, I feel like
sage advice.
That's a sign person kind of thing right there. All right, moving on to Curtis's pick. Sean, I know you and I don't know if we saw this together, but we would have seen this probably in one of the same theaters. I can't say I cried here, but like it definitely shocked me because I'm like, oh, this movie, they're killing everybody.
Yeah, I mean, this moment I remember it just being like, oh, you people, you know, like there's that like Curtis said, I wasn't laughing, but it was okay. Darwinism in action. Here we go. To be honest, if there is a scene that probably got me a little bit in the feels in that movie, it was probably when the president gave the speech to rally everybody to fight everything. Because that was one of those moments. We will not go softly into the night and all that. And you're just sitting there going like, I'm in here on the 4th of July watching this movie. I need to go and sign up for something after I get out of here, where I have to salute people now because it's getting me Jones to do this, you know? Like, and it's like, if I would do that, they'd be like, yeah, the aliens will win, kid. Don't worry about it.
That's an amazing speech, ain't it?
It is one of those speeches where, and it's weird. Like Bill Pullman is not an actor that really makes me feel like he would pull that off. He always seems like so milquetoast and everything. Because I think of him from like when you were sleeping or Sleepless in Seattle or what. It's all these movies where he's usually this like nebbish kind of guy that ends up having allergies to everything. Then all of a sudden he's delivering this speech, and you're just there like, yeah, this is the best president ever, you know. And then Harrison Ford becomes president later. You're like, that's the best president ever, and all that stuff. But
meanwhile, look at our choices. Fuck, man, I would kill for an Independence Day president. You know,
he killed the aliens. I mean, seriously.
I'm sorry, I do have to say, Kevin has it right here. I agree. I think Randy Quaid's speech as he's flying into the alien spaceship. Remember me? Up yours! As he flies his plane into the heart of the ship is the best speech in that movie. I don't know if I can call it a speech, but
I don't know. That's the best speech, but okay. All right.
I'm making a funny, Curtis.
Yeah, no.
Moving on to Curtis.
Anthony, you did not misunderstand the assignment. Joe had an unusual reaction to this, but it's okay. For whatever reason, it affected him, and it's good. It's okay to feel feelings.
I don't know about that, but it did happen. So
all right, let's all pull Curtis apart now for his next choice.
All right,
or his first choice, rather, his third choice.
Oh,
so yeah. I mean, spoiler alert, but if you haven't watched it by now, I'm sorry, but I Am Legend, obviously, like, you know, you go through the movie and you know, he's, you know, he's lost, you know, his family, he's lost all these people around him. He's basically by himself. It's just him and the dog, and it's his only connection to, you know, his old life. And you have the situation where the dog's trying to save him, and you know, the dog gets kind of beat up, and he gets back to the place, and he's trying to help him, and he starts singing the Bob Marley to him, and he starts seeing that like the chunks of hair are just coming off of the dog, and he realizes that he's changing, and there's just that moment when he realizes that the dog's not going to be his dog anymore. It's going to be, you know, some monster. And it's not, to me, it's not, I see like Trevor saying dog deaths always do it. To me, it's not even that I'm not even upset about the dog as much as I am like, this is his only connection to his daughter, to the world. It's his only like thing keeping him sane is this dog. And, you know, to lose that connection with humanity, it's just too much for me. Like it, yeah. And the fact that he has to put the dog out himself is just like the icing on the crybaby cake. I mean, I'm done at that point. So
yeah, it's definitely a rough scene. It very you know, because he snaps her neck, I believe.
Yeah.
In that moment, like it's not even, he doesn't even get to do something nicer because you know, he's got to save all the medical stuff. But yeah, that's a rough one.
No, I'd be the same way as Curtis about. I mean, it's not like I hate animals or anything like that, but I get exactly what he's saying here, because in the movie when it was happening, the minute that the fur started coming off and it's in his hand or whatever, like you were saying, for me there was this, oh shit, you know, like it's one more thing that this guy is losing to what connected him to his humanity and his family and everything. Yeah. You're lucky he can't walk over and smack you. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those moments when I remember seeing it going, would I even have the guts to be able to do that? You know, like I there's a part of me that I don't even know if I could kill the dog, even though the dog would be horrible, you know, afterwards. But it's like, that's part of why it's so affecting.
Well, because I mean, killing the dog is a hard enough thing anyway.
Yeah.
But then knowing that then you're going to have to live the rest of that time by yourself.
Yeah.
Like it's, you know, it's almost like there's a moment where you gotta think that maybe he's thinking, maybe I'm just done. Like maybe I just give up, you know, and let the dog do whatever the dog's going to do. So anyway,
All right. Moving on to Sean's number 3.
All right, so you're going to find, and I didn't intend for this, but you're going to find a progression in the ones that I picked, or at least a through line in the ones that I picked. So Real Steel was one of those movies that everybody was making fun of when they first heard about it. Oh, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, the movie, and all this stuff. And even I was like, this sounds like, I don't know. You know, like I remember thinking to myself, do I really want to see it? And eventually, I think, Jesse, you were the one to go, hey, why don't we go check it out or whatever. I feel like you're connected to this movie and my history with this. I think it was Heather and me. We went with you and checked this out. And
sounds probable.
It's one of those movies that when you get into it, you're just sitting there going, damn, this is actually a really good movie. It's got a lot of heart to it. It's and people, you can make fun of it and say it's like the Rocky of robot fighting movies, but it really is. It's got that vibe, like the underdog vibe throughout the thing. With for anybody who hasn't seen it, so basically Hugh Jackman was a former boxer, and he ended up he wasn't able to box anymore, and then they ended up boxing became illegal, but then you could do the robot boxing, and that's how legally you could do this now in the future. And so he ended up becoming somebody using the robots to make money and all this stuff. And then he finds out he has a kid, and he ends up having to take the kid with him and do all this, and it becomes a father-son story of reconnecting with each other. And then on top of that, they find this crappy little robot in like a junkyard on a rainy night, and they call him Adam, and it's tinier than all the other robots. It's not as fancy as the other robots, but somehow, because of the kid working with the robot, suddenly they're winning matches and they're getting up in the league and all this stuff. So when you get to this point in the movie, you've seen the kid becoming attached to the robot, but you're also seeing Hugh Jackman noticing there's something going on in this robot that isn't necessarily just any robot. And they don't really get into what that is, which I like. It lets you think, ooh, what could be, what is the thing with this robot? What is there a soul in here? Or is there an AI that maybe other robots don't have that never got cleaned out or something? But the final fight is Adam, who's the tiny little robot that could, versus this insane huge robot called Zeus. And it's the one that everybody's scared to go up against. This robot's insane, and it's got all these, it's the kid and a Hugh Jackman piloting this robot while there's
isn't Zeus like piloted by like
people.
Yeah, don't they have like multiple people trying?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's like they have their own structure over on the other side with how many people, and there's I think he was Japanese. He's the guy behind it, and he's yelling at them for what to do and all that stuff to control the robot during the fight. And what I love is Zeus hammers the crap out of Adam for a while, and Adam can't function, and the only function he has left is a shadow function that allows him to watch something and recreate its movements, which that's what Hugh Jackman in the middle of the movie, there's like a big montage, and they have like he's going through his punching and Adam's doing it with him, and they're doing blocks and dodges and everything. And so for him to win the fight, the kid's like, we got to put it on shadow mode, and he's got to look at you, Dad. And Hugh Jackman's like, this is crazy, it's never going to work. He's like, it will work if you let me do this. And then the next thing you know is, Hugh Jackman's doing it, and he's like having him cover up. And then finally he gets in there and he starts like doing all these crazy combos, and Zeus is on the ropes after a while. And the thing that got me is through the movie, Evangeline Lilly's in it. She actually owns the gym where Hugh Jackman would train. So when the son's there, she's telling him all these stories about Hugh Jackman in his heyday and all of these amazing fights he was in and all this stuff. The kid's never seen his dad in action. And so suddenly you're watching Hugh Jackman do this, and it's like his chance to finally show his son, this is who he is. And the son is looking at Hugh Jackman as like, you're my hero because you're winning this. It's not just about me piloting the robot. It's not about the robot. It's about you having the skill to get us past Zeus here. And it just hit me like a ton of. I didn't realize that was how the movie was going to end when I went to see it. And it really was one of those things where it's like when you see how like Adam's against the ropes and all this stuff, but then Hugh Jackman starts coming in there and doing stuff. You're watching Evangeline Lilly in the crowd, and she starts cheering, and the whole crowd starts cheering for Adam. And it's electric watching that entire scene. And you're like right there with them, like cheering them on, and you want them to win. And the best part is it's because of the dad that did it. And he got to use his skills to get them. And I was blubbering like an idiot by the end of this movie.
And I got to add on to this. Usually, not that kids aren't good actors, but it takes a special talent, a special kid to pull off some of the stuff the kid does in this movie. And, you know, because they can come off as just like, you know, oh, I'm reading a script, I'm supposed to be sad now, or, you know, just really fake or phone it in. But this kid, he felt very sincere. Like he felt like this character, and just the connection and disconnection that he and Hugh Jackman have, since like he's never met his dad, like Sean was saying, like their connection's really good, and you really see like come to full bore in this scene. So yeah, I don't know if I had full on tears at this point, but I know I was very choked up at this point in the movie, and happy at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think this is a movie that I cried at, but it's definitely a very emotional movie, and it's way better than it should be. Like you said, like just hearing what the premise of the movie is, you're like, it should not be that good. But I think it's one of Hugh Jackman's better movies. I think it's really good. And there's also they play this part where like he's not really good with business decisions and stuff, and like nothing's really ever worked for him. And so, you know, when they start winning some with this thing, like he has a chance to sell it, and he's trying to talk the kid into letting him sell it and everything. There's like that whole vibe to it. And then, you know, as the movie progresses, he realizes that it's more important for him and his son to have this moment in time with this bot than it is to have that money. And so it's definitely an emotional movie, and it's really good. I do think it's very underrated. Kevin was saying that earlier, very underrated movie, and I 100% agree. So
yeah, good movie. I mean, it's been a really long time since I've seen it. I just don't remember being sad during this one, but I remember liking it.
Yeah. Cool.
My number 3 is this is major spoiler for anyone who has not seen Coco. I'm not going to get into the whole story, but this is the literal like final moments of the movie. This song, I get choked up a lot during this movie. This is one of my top movies of all time, to the point where I've only watched it 3 or 4 times since it came out, just because I don't want to overplay it. Just the fact like this kid is struggling with his family. He feels like an outsider. Music is banned. And just the way this scene plays out, it's him fully getting to embrace that, and the family coming around him. And I mean, like, there are definitely more parts in this I could have picked, but this is like a sad, like it's a sad and happy moment. But like by the time this was playing, I was like just openly sobbing in my chair in the movie theater, like ugly crying, snot running down my face. And I didn't care. Like this movie just really hits a lot of chords for me, and no pun intended. And yeah, I can just, in my head, I can just hear the song playing right now in this scene. But yeah, it really moves me.
I kind of figured that your picks were going to be things that I had never either seen or heard of before, and I was right. So
I've heard of this. I just haven't watched it. Yeah,
Joe, you'd like it. It's a musical. I mean, it's a Disney musical, but it's
yeah. I think the reason I didn't watch it is because my kids are older now and not interested in it. You know, like these kind of movies. So it wasn't like I was avoiding it or anything. Just it didn't come up. I think if my kids were young, like when my kids were younger, we watched like every Disney movie that came out, but I just never.
I feel like this one might be worth, maybe, I don't know. It might hit some marks because I mean, if your kids are teenagers, maybe not. I don't know. But like it's all about family and understanding each other and all that sort of stuff. So it's
Fast and Furious is also
know.
about family.
That's not very relatable for my family. But,
okay.
I might check it out. I don't know if my kids would be interested in it, but I might check it out. I have like 10 streaming services I pay for and never watch, so maybe I'll throw it on sometime.
And it's visually just the whole movie, the color and the feel of it is just the animation. It's beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I've seen it. My kids watched it more than I did. And the thing that I appreciated about this one a lot is Jesse knows I haven't really talked about it on the show before, but my father, when he was in the decade before he passed away, he developed dementia. And the one thing that I found out during his time of dealing with that was how important music is to people who are going through that, because it will trigger things that maybe anything else can't get to in your memories and in the way your mind works, and it will make them alive again. It'll like if you're going through dementia, you literally are like a shell and you just sit there, depending how far along you are. And in the movie, they have a moment where the song brings his grandmother?
His great-grandmother.
Great-grandmother.
Yeah.
So she's just kind of sitting there and all that stuff. And then he plays this song that was a part of her life, and it makes her alive again in that way. So it's like, it means something to me on a different level maybe than Jesse and stuff, but I appreciated they did that here. And, like I can understand how the emotion of this also would be so affecting. So, but yeah, it's out of all the Disney movies I've seen recently, I think I saw this once so far. And some of it was for the fact that it reminded me of my dad, and I didn't want to go there a lot in my own head either. Because that was a pretty rough time for me and my mom. But yeah, it's a very, very emotional movie, but a very, very well done movie too.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
I almost picked that scene, but then I chose this one just because like it's just the button on the end of it.
Sure.
But
sure.
I mean, I was a complete mess by the time that happened as well.
Before we go to the number twos, can we see where we're at with the giveaway? Maybe spin that. We've got 24 out of 30. Give it a couple more seconds. If anybody
the big
wants
one, right?
to put in. Yeah, this is the one that we advertised. Yeah, so this is the Brother Mandibulus. We do have more prizes that we want to give away, but we need more people. So if we get to 50, we'll do another prize. But this is the one we're at now. Last chance. # Broman. If you want a chance for a loose Brother Mandibulus. So, and let's spin that wheel.
Oh, I was gonna say
JD Gibson. JD, reach out to any one of us, and we'll get your information to Dooch and get that sent off. So congratulations. We will I think Joe, you had a prize, right? That we could put up if we get to 50. Didn't you have a builder?
I have a Dark Knight Legion builder.
Okay, Dark Templar. So
Dark Templar.
If we get to 20 more people, we're giving away a Dark Templar. So
absolutely, make it so.
All right, we ready for twos?
Nope. I'm gonna pull this up here while I'm getting that ready.
Well, we don't want to. We got to hit 50 before we make this available. Unless,
right.
I mean, I guess we could pull it at 50, but.
Nope, you're right.
We need some more people. So
yeah, don't put Dark Templar in yet. We're not doing that.
We are professionals.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't try this at home, folks.
or at all, really. All right.
Okay.
And we're still same order, right?
Yep, same order.
Okay.
So moving on to, whoops, gotta add it back to the stage. Our number twos. All right, we're back at the top with Joe. So we're gonna slide right into this, and Joe can set this up for us.
Oh, Joe.
Hey, so yeah, so I was 4 when I watched this. And so like I didn't have a VCR or anything when I was young. I didn't even know this movie existed. I was part of a play group where we would go to different people's houses and you know, a bunch of kids. It was like there was no preschool here at the time, so it was like just a play group. And we go to one person's house that was pretty well off, and they had a VCR, and they're like, "We're gonna put on Bambi."
You want to watch?
I'm 4, and yeah, and and then this bull crap happens, and I was trying not to cry because, you know, I mean, that's not a thing that you want to do, especially when you're around a group of kids.
Yeah.
At a stranger's house, and ended up just bawling. Like, it was the saddest thing I'd ever seen up to that point in my life, of my 4 years of life. And I want to say it traumatized me. I didn't watch another Disney movie until I was much, much older, able to process emotions better. It was terrible. Yeah. So, like, yeah, just kill off the mom. And yeah, and then that happened. I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it. Yet it makes me sad looking at it just right now.
Okay. Should we move on to the next slide?
It's very brutal for a cartoon. I mean, I understand that there's a lot of Disney films that have death in it, but it's very brutal for a cartoon, for sure.
Yeah. And just being young, it was like traumatizing, because, you know, I see in the comment, my dad just said that's good eating. Like, deer in real life don't act like Bambi in his mom does in the movie. You know, like when you give them, like, animals are animals, but when you give them emotions and feelings and a voice, it hits different. It's not like hunting. It's just not. It's not the same thing. I strongly disagree. So.
Every time I think of the scene, all I can think of, if I'm not actually in the movie watching it, is the one, I think it was Tiny Toons, where like the kids on the airplane like crying about they killed Bambi's mom or something like that. Yeah. And he's just very crying relatable. Like the whole episode, the whole short, and you know, the mom finally gets him to calm down, and then someone else, one of the main characters, like shows him something else that, like, it was old. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't Old Yeller and Bambi, but yeah, Bumpy's mom. Yep, yeah, Mark got it. It was clearly a nod to Bambi, but it wasn't specifically Bambi. Yeah, and it just sets him off at the end. But yeah, this is brutal, and that's the thing with Disney movies. A lot of people have commented. I mean, because I believe Walt Disney lost his mom at a young age, so like that's just something that was like ingrained into him. But like showing the blood and everything, like that's pretty hardcore for a kid's cartoon.
Yeah. And being an older movie, you know, and watching it when I was young, like, I was just not prepared. Like, I'd only watched Saturday morning cartoons at this point. Like, nobody just whipped out a gun and blew Slimer away or anything. You know what I mean? It just,
or if they did, you know, they were fine. Like, you know, Daffy's bill would go around the back of his face or something.
Yeah.
They all walked away from it.
They'd have the black powder all over their face. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, there's my number 2.
All right. Sliding down onto Curtis's number dose.
All right. So
I don't know what's going on with the whoop. I don't know what's going on with the
so I got to preface this. This is from Rocky 5, okay? And it is a terrible movie. It is a movie that if you're a Rocky fan, I tell people, like, watch the first 4, watch the beginning of 5, and then turn it off. because the Rocky V is just terrible. It is just a terrible movie. But there's a scene at the very beginning of the movie. It starts off, you're seeing highlights from him fighting Drago in Rocky IV, and coming out on top, and he changes all these Russians to where they feel for him and they're rooting for him and all this kind of stuff. And then he ends up in the showers and something's wrong, and he calls for Adrian. And he tells this story about how Mick used to tell him that, he used to, when he was fighting, sometimes he would feel like he broke something inside, and that maybe he was going to die. And that's when the angels were coming. And like, he looks down and he says he can't stop shaking. Like his hands are just like shaking uncontrollably. And Adrian's getting all worried about it. And then he says, she asks if he wants to see a doctor. He says no. And then he says, I just want to go home. And then he says, I just want to go home, Mick. And so it's like, he's not even registering who is in there with him at that point. And it's so emotional, man. I mean, it's just like, we see sports, we see sports movies, we see the victories, we see the like coming out on top and all this and that, but you don't see all the extra that goes in it. You don't see the hard work. Sometimes you don't see the aftermath. And so seeing the aftermath of that fight that was so important to that series, and seeing it just completely break this man who is the champion of the world. Like, this guy is like, a real man's man. And to see him just absolutely broken, spiritually, physically, emotionally, just it's really rough. But it's important. And I think it's that's the one redeeming part about Rocky V is the beginning here. And yeah, it tears me up every single time. So,
okay. I'll jump on that real quick and concur. This is the best part of that movie. I think it's one thing this franchise as a whole does really well is portrays these characters as real people. Like, even if they're on top of the world, they're still dealing with all the same stuff everybody else does. All the money doesn't change that. And yeah, this is a good pick. I was really confused when I saw your comment said Rocky V, and I'm like, what? And I had to think about it for a while before I realized, where this scene was falling, because it happens right at the end of Rocky IV, but it's in Rocky V, like the events of Rocky IV.
Yeah. And this is one this week that, as I'm, watching the clip, like, dude, it was rough. It really got to me. And I think it's just, it's something that I talk about often with like my kids and stuff, because we have a tendency as a society to kind of compare our real life to somebody else's highlight reel. If you know what I mean? Like you look at Facebook and you see, somebody that's doing X, Y, or Z, and you're like, oh man, their life is so great. But you're seeing the highlight reel of their life. You're not seeing the real thing. You're not seeing, the stuff that happens behind the scenes, the stuff that they don't want you to see. And every one of us goes through some of that terrible shit. And like, this is part of that. Like, this is like, if you just saw Rocky IV and you never saw this, you would think, oh man, that must be great to just, come out on top and have these people start cheering for you. And, that is a really great feeling. But then you don't see this. This is the behind the scenes stuff that you don't see, that happens in people's lives, that I think is important to understand that happens. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I've never seen this one, but I think the Rocky franchise, the ones that I have seen, do a good job portraying emotions and definitely, like Jesse said, making them feel like real people. And also, getting beat up sucks and can cause all kinds of bad feelings taking an ass whooping. So I'll agree with that part of it for sure. It doesn't make you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 is the one I've never watched out of all the Rockies, because I was always told it wasn't good, and I went with the peer pressure on that one, which kind of annoys me for this moment especially. But I want to throw out there, I know Kevin in the chat was saying the speech to the son of Rocky Balboa. I'd also say that is a really amazing Rocky moment as well. Yeah. Even though, like I said, I'm sorry, I don't have much to comment here, but that was one of those moments in the theater. I was just like, every guy should hear this as a teenager so that they can figure out how to go forward when the things are, there's obstacles and they think they can't get past them and all that kind of stuff. So it's like Rocky on a lot of levels. This and Rocky Balboa and Rocky in general is one of those franchises that you can show people, and there's a life lesson involved, and it's not just some tied up in a bow moment. It really does have this, like, it can resonate with you years later when you need it the most, which is really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if anybody hasn't seen Rocky V and you have liked any of the Rocky movies, it's worth at least tuning in and watching the first like 10 minutes of it just to see this interaction. I can't say much for the rest of the movie, although there is one great line towards the end when he's in the big fight against Tommy Gunn, and he's knocked down to the ground and stuff, and he's picturing Mick, and Mickey says, "Get up, you son of a bitch. Mickey loves you." And it's just like this really corny ass fucking line, but it's very, very Rocky-esque. So, but yeah, like I said, if you see it for free on some streaming service or whatever that you're already paying for, like Joe has all those 12 streaming services or whatever, and you see it on, check out the first 10 minutes. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Going on to Sean's number 2, rather, that I accidentally skipped to earlier.
Okay, so Onward, the Pixar movie, it came out literally a week before quarantine in 2020, and it probably bombed really hard because of the fact it was in the theaters and nobody could go. It was one that I saw the previews to it, and I was like, I don't care. But it was one where my daughter had the day off of school, and I needed to think of something to do. So I said to her, "Hey, you want to go see that new Disney movie that's out?" And she's like, "Okay." And so we go and see it. I had no idea what I was about to walk into. I thought it was going to be this silly, oh, hey, we forgot magic and we're elves and there's unicorns and there's fairies and things. And it's just like them trying to incorporate magic into their normal lives again and like come full circle, because it was making fun of, like, it was like D&D in the beginning, and then it goes to now unicorns are eating garbage out of the garbage cans and flying around drunk and all this stuff, and I'm like, all right, whatever. It didn't do much. It turns out it's the story of these two brothers who both lost their father when they were kids. The one brother's older than the other. Barley and Ian's the younger brother, played by Tom Holland, Spider-Man. And then Barley is played by Chris Pratt. And they both lost their father, and they find this stone it's a phoenix gem that it can grant one more day with their dad. And their dad could meet Ian, because Ian was really little when he passed away and all this stuff. So it's like Ian's dream to do this. And I'm thinking it wasn't as affecting or anything. It was more like an adventure story of these two brothers going on this quest. It was literally a D&D quest. Like, we have to go to the tavern, and at the tavern we get this, and then we go here, and then this is here, and then we got to follow da-da-da, and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is a really fun movie. Like, I was really under its spell until the end of the movie. And I guess I'll say spoilers because it's a fairly recent movie considering, and if you haven't seen it or whatever, because it didn't do well. So Ian, throughout the whole movie, wants to spend time with his dad. He's never met him. And he has a checkoff list in this notebook of all the things he wants to do with his dad and for that one day with that stone, if they could make this spell work. And he starts looking at the list, and he's realizing all the things on this list are things his big brother did with him throughout his life, and he never realized it. So right off the bat, my chin is starting to tremble because I'm like, oh God, like they already got me with that. But then the cool thing was, the brother is still trying to solve this and make it happen, so he unleashes this curse by accident, which is what is this dragon in the shot here. His high school becomes this cursed dragon that's coming to kill him. And the cool thing about the movie is throughout it, the brother is the one who knows about the old ways, and he's the one that he's like hardcore D&D kind of guy, and he's teaching him spells and realizing Ian's really good at learning these spells and he can do them. So he's teaching him like levitation spells, spells where he's walking across a canyon with no rope on and things like whatever. He's got all these different spells. And what I love is when this curse dragon happens and they're trying to still reunite with the dad, every spell comes into play for him to fight this thing while he gives his brother time to spend even, I think it's only like 5 minutes with their father again by the end of this movie. And when I discovered that everything his brother taught him added to him doing this, so his brother got the time to spend because he realized he's the one that needs to do it more than him. He's had a father all along. It's been his big brother. So it's like I'm watching this going like, oh my God, is this amazing? The action is amazing. Just the way it all plays out with him putting all these spells together to fight this thing and give his brother that extra time needed so he gets a little chance before I think it's sunset, when the spell wears off and the father is gone again forever. And I'm just sitting there watching this movie, and like the minute he's putting the spells together and fighting this thing, I'm a blubbering idiot. And my daughter's watching it with me, and she's like, "Dad, are you okay?" I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm like, this is amazing. What he's doing for his brother and all this stuff. And by the end of it, I literally left the theater and I'm like, oh my God, I can't look like this in front of my daughter right now. And she's like, it's okay that you're crying, Daddy. It was a really cool ending. I'm like, I know. But it like this movie, it did not even remotely prepare me for this ending and how emotional it got. Not even to mention the fact the main character finally realizes, I don't even need to see my father. You've been my father. I want you to have that time with Dad because you knew Dad and you got to be my dad and you did what Dad couldn't do and took care of me and all that. And the minute he traded places with him in that moment, I'm like, holy shit. Like he spent all his life building to this and he literally says, I'm good because I know what and plus just all those spells. That moment, for some reason, it's just the whole, he learned all this stuff because his brother believed in him. And he's literally putting it into use to save his brother at the same time at the end. And it's all working. And it's all like, I got to figure this out. And he just, boom, and he does it. And I'm like, oh my God. It's one of the best climaxes of a Disney movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
I feel like you're leaving out the two important things. Like Ian's at the beginning of the movie, he, like you said, he's obsessed with his dad. Like he comes home every day from school and listens to a tape, a recording of his dad, and he pretends to have a conversation. Like he's got the beats, you know, all this stuff. And then the dad is there once the spell starts because they have 24 hours, and part of the rush is he doesn't know the spells enough that the first thing he does is bring his dad back, but he only gets like up to his belt.
Yeah,
so
they got him
for the whole movie.
They've
got this pair of legs and feet walking around with him. They put like a hoodie on it or a jacket that's all stuffed, and it's like this like floppy body like following them around everywhere because like the feet can follow them and like it can hear and react to them, but it doesn't have a voice, so it can't talk. So it's just this weird like pillow body.
Weekend at Bernie's Magic Edition.
But it's hilarious. Yeah, I did get to see this in the theaters. I absolutely love this movie. And you know, it's definitely spot on choice, Sean.
I actually haven't seen this movie. I remember I wanted to watch it and then totally forgot all about it. Like for years. This popped up and I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to watch this movie. So I might have to check this one out.
Out of anybody in this group, I really hope you do. Because like I said, the Dungeons and Dragons aspect of it, they like Barley is into this card game and it's like even a board game and stuff, and it's like it's literally him learning the history of their people, and he understand. He's like, well, centaurs used to be this way, now they drive cars. Well, don't you think that's weird? Like, why are they half horse if they don't want to ride around like that? All this other stuff. And it's like, it's such a silly premise, but when you get to the other side of the silly premise to that story of the brothers, you're just sitting there going, man, is this a great ride? I mean, even the brother, he has this beat up minivan, like the old black minivans with the like Frazetta painting on the side, like
I remember that from the trailer.
Yeah, and he calls it Guinevere. So it's like even things like that amused me in this. So yeah,
right on.
It sounds like a great movie. I've never seen it, so I don't know. There's parts that you've described that kind of sound a little familiar. I wonder if maybe Darla might have watched it while I was napping one time, to where maybe I caught a few glimpses.
You got it through osmosis.
But yeah, I definitely did not watch this one, so I don't really have a whole lot to offer other than, I mean, it sounds very emotional and cool the way you described it. So
it's worth a look.
I think you would enjoy it, Curtis.
Cool, especially
getting into D&D and stuff like that more. I think that aspect of it will be fun for you.
Gotcha.
Oh, I guess it's my turn.
It is.
So my number 2, I'm sure Curtis has never even heard of this movie. This is from Finding Neverland.
Hold on 1 second. Let's see if we can fix this. Nope, that's still cutting it off. All right. Sorry. I thought maybe it was the format.
It's for some reason, even though Google Slides is designated as a thing for this program, it's cutting the bottom off. Sorry, guys.
That's all right.
And the top, because there was definitely like color across the top. I didn't have the pictures right at the edge, so I don't know why it's cropping it so much. But so this is Finding Neverland, came out, I don't remember when, a while back. It's got Johnny Depp, Kate Winslet. It's basically about J.M. Barrie and the creation of the story of Peter Pan as a play. Freddie Highmore's in it. So it's all about, he's a playwright. Everybody's waiting for him to do the next big thing, and he can't quite get it. And then he meets this woman and her kids, and they start like a friendship, and there's like the gossip and all this stuff, because I can't remember, I think she's a widow, and he's married, so there's all this stuff, all that social drama of that period of time in England and everything. But there's nothing untoward or, at least in the movie, improper going on with them. And it sets up the whole thing with because Peter Pan, there's the whole thing with the orphans and all that stuff. So throughout his adventures with this family and telling stories and trying to entertain these kids, he comes up with the Peter Pan story, and they perform it for Sylvia, Kate Winslet's character. And she has, what is it? Consumption. I can't remember what the tuberculosis. Thank you, Sean. Where they start coughing off blood, and they eventually die. So this scene is they're performing this in her house because she's too sick to go to the theater to see it. And as she steps down into it, the whole world transforms into this magical land in the backyard or whatever. And she, it's clearly the moment of her passing. It's right at the end of the movie. But yeah, this gets me every time. It's a really good movie. There's a lot of stuff that builds up to this payoff, because Freddie Highmore's character, her son, is so, he doesn't want to be a little kid. He wants to be all grown up. He doesn't want to have an imagination. So a lot of the story is about Johnny Depp trying to get this little boy to stop acting like an adult and be a child again. So the complete opposite of Peter Pan. But yeah, it really gets me.
I've never heard of this movie. It sounds emotional though.
Yeah, I got nothing.
That's okay.
I saw this.
Thank you for sharing.
I like how Curtis does that. It's almost like the whole, have you heard of our Lord and Savior? Oh, no, I haven't, but thanks for sharing. No, this was like around the Pirates craze with him. So it was like for Johnny Depp, it was punched up a lot more because he's in it. I remember going to the theater with my mom and seeing this, but to be honest, my memory isn't the greatest on this one either. But I do remember this part. It didn't hit me quite the same, but like even to me, like I found out the Peter Pan idea was the idea of Neverland is the afterlife and the kids can never grow old because, you know, when they die and all that. So it's like, that's already got like a melancholy story to me. Plus then you add this to it and it's effective as an emotional piece. Then
I had never heard that before. That's interesting.
If you look into it, there's like different takes on that in how people view the story of Peter Pan, and a lot of people view Peter Pan as actually like somebody who takes the dead child's spirit to Neverland, so they'll never grow old and they'll never be forgotten and all that kind of stuff. It depends if you want to view it that way or not. As a kid, I always loved Peter Pan, but yeah, I do remember this, and I think it was, if I remember right, I did get a little emotional at this point because they did play her up as the whole idea of them doing this for her in her home just gave you that feeling it was like a send-off for her and their way of saying goodbye to her and all that. So you were kind of like already going, oh, I know what's about to happen here.
Right.
In that sense.
Yeah, you know what's coming. The kids are all dressed up real nice. I think they even have like fake tickets for her and everything.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
like they've got a lot of the people from the production have come to the house and they've rigged some stuff to make it, you know, they do the whole like clap if you believe in fairies and like, you know, yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
All right.
Number ones.
Number ones. Schmerber, I will agree. I think Kate Winslet is a fantastic actress. Back to the top with Joe. Do you want to say anything before I pull this up?
Anything.
Okay.
Very good.
Oh, yeah. This was my number one. That's why I didn't comment.
Sorry.
No, I didn't know there was an overlap, but I have a little bit of backstory for me on this. When my son was born, my oldest son, my first wife went and got a puppy like the week after he was born, and this dog ended up being my little buddy, and for 16 years. And you know, I used to joke, like I've had 2 wives and 5 kids, and the only person that is excited to see me when I get home from work is my dog, you know. And I'm not a crier naturally. That dog, my dog passed, you know, with us of old age. You're holding him with all the kids around, got to feel his heart slow down and stop and stuff. And it was probably the most emotional moment of my real life to, you know, before or since. I made it about 2 days and then I just broke down, and cause it was my buddy, like my best friend. And so when this happens in this movie, I just wanted to turn it off. I was like, really? They're going to kill the freaking dog? Like, because of my real life trauma, this scene had a lot more impact on me. And I was genuinely disappointed in Will Smith because if it was me, I'd be like, well, I guess I'm going to be a freaking zombie now because I'm staying with my damn dog. He took the weak way out. Humans stink anyways. Just turn into a zombie and stay with your zombie dog and just move on. So
he's just taking him on zombie walks and
you could go for
cleaning up his zombie poo, and
they could huff together in buildings during the day, stuff like that. I don't know. So anyways, this was a hard scene for me to watch just because of previous traumas. So that's why I put it as my number one.
I got to say real quick, this is a very moving moment for sure in this movie. I did throw out one stipulation, which everybody was like, why did you throw that out, as to not pick that one? Because no one picked it. This was not a movie I expected on the list, let alone from two people. That's not a judgment on the movie. It's been so long since I watched it. Like it didn't, so yeah.
I wish you would have told me, because I had plenty to choose from, but Joe made it clear that he's only cried 3 times in his life. So,
my whole life,
yeah.
No.
So I couldn't expect him to pick a different one, but I definitely had more that I could pick from.
I didn't want to tell anybody. Like I was fine with the over. Like I didn't mind the overlap. Like I said, I because it was so shocking that this was the one that overlapped. I was like, I'm just going to roll with it. So I was watching Joe's face at the beginning to see how he reacted to it.
In fairness, though, we did bring it up for 2 different reasons. Though he's bringing it up for feeling sorry for the dog, and or upset about the dog. I'm sad for the person and the fact that he's losing that last touch with humanity. So we actually chose it for 2 different reasons. So.
Yeah, it was fine. That it didn't bother me at all that there was an overlap,
Yeah.
It's an impactful scene and is just I think a lot of people are bothered by animal deaths, and especially, dogs. Especially in movies when they're played up in an emotional way.
Joke's right. I mean, not only millions of movies, but millions of moments in movies
for us.
and we both picked the same moment.
In my defense, you guys had a good point in the beginning. I have not watched a million movies.
Yeah, so that's true.
It's probably closer to 100 in my life. So this just happened to be one of them, because it has an awesome title. I Am Legend. I was like, ooh, I want to see what this is about. Such an amazing title. The title has nothing to do with the movie. It's completely unrelated. That was a little sleight of hand trick on us there. So, but yeah.
I do enjoy that movie. I every time I watch it, though, I do watch both endings, because there's the alternate ending, and I make sure I watch both endings. So,
I didn't know there was an alternate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, the name of it, the name's based on the book,
right?
If I remember right. And the book, if I also remember this right, the vampires, zombies, whatever you want to call them, were able to communicate better than the way they were in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would tell stories about the last human that would take them down. And so that was why the name is I Am Legend. It's Will Smith's character literally is the thing that they're afraid of. He's the vampire to them. He's the legend that they're passing around through their people, going, he will kill us, give him the chance, kind of a thing. So I in the movie, it did not cover that in any way, shape, or form, but there's been other adaptations, and that's how I understood the title to be. And I'm like, that would have been really cool if they would have even did that in any part of this movie, so that you would have been like, that's sweet, instead of it just being, well, now it's I Am Legend. I don't know. I'll just go see it,
Right. Agreed.
All right, Curtis, anything you want to set up before we slide into your
I
numbers?
want to see if I'm right about this.
If anybody has ever watched Offworld and listened to us, you should know what my number one is going to be. I guarantee Sean picked it, or guessed it. So go ahead and flip it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it.
So, yeah, I mean, the Yondu's funeral at the end of and here's what I'll say. Like, I saw when we posted this, some people were making their comments on what they thought would be, and some people said like Endgame with Iron Man. Like, that didn't do anything for me. As much as I love the character Iron Man, that death did not do anything for me. And Yondu really didn't mean a whole lot to me at all, but his funeral gets me every freaking time. The music kicks in, the fact that the Ravengers show up, the fact that Kraglin just loses his mind with excitement, and then this moment here with Rocket and Quill, where Rocket is surprised that they showed up, that because he was a jerk, and he's really talking about himself because Rocket's a jerk, and he lashes out at the people that he's closest to, and I connect with that because I do that. I am an asshole a lot of times to the people that are most closest to me, and I frustrate the people closest to me a lot, but they don't leave because they love me and we're family. And that moment, like as soon as the music hits, I start feeling it, and then they show up, I'm feeling it more. Kraglin does his excitement, and I'm feeling it more. And then this part happens, and I'm fucking done. Like I am, like, yeah, stick a fork in me. I'm done. And then Quill says, of course not. And that's it. Like just even thinking about it, I'm getting teary-eyed. So that's about all I can say without actually breaking out into tears right now. So go ahead.
It's sad. It's a sad scene for sure, and set up to be sad and impactful, and it definitely works that way. So I can understand this pick for sure.
I think for this one's definitely one of the best moments in the MCU. For sure in the MCU, it is definitely a standout moment in movies. Period. But I think one of the things that really get why it works for me is, like a lot of the things I've picked already, it's a combination of the sadness and the celebration. Like it's not just the negative sadness. There's a lot going on, and I like the complexity.
There's a lot of different parts. Yeah.
And I think that's really cool and really powerful. And the fact that you've got this CG animated character in a live action movie that's conveying so much of this emotion is just, hands off to James Gunn, the animation department, and everybody that worked on bringing that character to life.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole, like, that's his brother, right? That plays Kraglin. It's James Gunn's brother.
And does the performance for Rocket as well.
Yeah.
Such a great moment when he gets all excited and he screams. Like, it's just like, it feels so real. Like he's so excited for Yondu that they showed up for his funeral. Like it's man, it is very powerful. So
yeah, this scene has ever since watching this scene, I saw this in the theater and I had no idea how hard that was going to hit me in the end. And if I even hear the beginning of that Cat Stevens song, I leave the room now. It's so freaking. It's like I think of this because there is that father and son thing, and I like that. I like that line before this where he might have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy, and all that, and that whole vibe or about it's like it's sometimes it's not your blood relatives, it's the family that you create along the way that's what really matters, whether it's blood or not. And but yeah, that song in particular and the use of it there, like I was watching they did it at the ending of Ted Lasso, which got me. But another show I started watching in the last couple of weeks is that Welcome to Wrexham. That's the one about Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney buying the Wrexham Football Club in Wrexham in Wales, and they use that in their own one episode where they're talking about the team, and it's like every time it goes back to that reaction I have of this scene, and I'm just a blubbering mess after the first couple lyrics in that song because it says a lot, and that's why I love this scene. It's like it's saying everything you don't hear Quill and Yondu say to each other, but it's saying it right through that song in such a really, really poignant way. So
it's so impactful to me that just hearing Cat Stevens at all in any song now makes me start to get like emotional. Like it's just so ingrained in my brain that I just hear his voice and it's like fuck, You know, here we go. Like,
the roller coaster begins. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway.
All right. Yeah. Powerful scene. Sean, we're sliding into your number two. Your number one. I keep
number one.
Sean's number one.
So, let's see. How do I want to start this? All right. So, Big Fish. It was a Tim Burton movie, and when I saw the previews to this movie, I thought, oh, it's going to be along the lines of like an Edward Scissorhands or, something like where it had that fantasy vibe to it, tall tales and all this stuff. Didn't know I was walking into a movie about me and my own father at all. And so in the movie, the father is always telling these tall tales about his life. And the son, even from an early age, is always feeling like, I don't matter because every tall tale or in every story you're always talking about has nothing to do with my life. It's always something that happened before I was born, and everything else is just kind of like an afterthought now. And he always had this back and forth with his dad where there was always conflict and frustration because he just feels left out. And that's the story of my father in my life, because my father, he was born in the 1920s. He ended up being drafted into World War II. He even spent a little time in the army after that, and he was like government man and all this stuff after that. I was born in 1978, and I wanted to play He-Man, and my dad was like, why are you playing with toys? Why can't you go get a job? And I'm 4, and he'd always talk about his war stories. He'd always talk about growing up in Czechoslovakia and all this stuff. He knew like 6 or 7 different languages, and I was lucky that I could speak English half the time. And I'm watching this movie and just going, oh my God, like they've captured me and my father to a T in this relationship, and how frustrated the son gets at the dad, how the dad doesn't even think much about it because he's got all these stories that mattered to him and all this stuff. And when we get to the ending of the movie, the thing that hit me like a ton of bricks, and I keep saying that line, but it's true, is so the dad's in the hospital and he's pretty much, at death's door, but he basically, and I thought this was a line in the movie, and unfortunately it isn't, but basically he looks at his son and he basically says, finish our story. And that was the moment where all of a sudden I'm like, oh shit, we're doing this. Like I started already having the feels in the theater watching this. And the thing that killed me too was I'm literally sitting next to a girl the same age as me watching this movie because I thought it was going to be this fun, endearing Tim what's his name? Tim Burton movie. And here I am going, oh, this is literally me watching my father. Oh God. And so it's like, the ending of the movie, instead of the dad telling all these crazy tall tale stories, he basically says to the son, tell me the last story before I go. And the son starts telling him about they break out of the hospital. He gets them into a wheelchair. All the orderlies are chasing them, and they're doing everything they can to make sure the orderlies can't get to them before they get to the elevator. And then he gets into the old like he has some kind of old muscle car when he was younger, and they get into the muscle car and they're driving through traffic like crazy and all this stuff. And it's all to get him back to this stream, to this creek where this fish was, that when he was a kid he wanted to catch this fish. And the thing that got me the most was I always heard these stories about all these people my dad had met. And when the son is taking the dad to the creek at the end, he's carrying him in this, like the actual shot here, and everybody he's ever talked about is waiting for him at the creek, and they're all saying goodbye, but nobody's crying. They're all happy to see him. They're waving at him. They're smiling, and they're like cheering him on while he's getting to the creek to finally say goodbye. And it made me think of my dad, because my dad had all of these stories about all these important people he met and all this stuff. And I was in the theater. I remember going, I bet this is going to be how my dad goes when he goes. Like there's so much resonating with me in this. And it was one of the hardest endings I've ever seen in the movie to get through. And to this day, like I can't watch this movie. I'm like Jesse with Coco, where I think I've seen it two times the whole way through in my entire life, because it so resonates with me and my story. But it's a gorgeous ending, and it's kind of that Guardians of the Galaxy vibe where it's like the send off to this is so impactful when you get to see it play out and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, this is a fantastic movie. One of my favorites. I haven't watched it in a really long time, but yeah, it's a really, really good film.
Yeah, this does not surprise me as your number one pick. I know that you've talked about this movie before as well as a few others, and kind of how it relates to not only you and your dad, but then when there's movies that kind of make you think about you and your kids, like that whole father-child relationship really definitely hits your heart pretty hard. So yeah, this doesn't surprise me at all, and it's a good one for sure.
Yeah.
I remember I was living in Missouri when this came out, and one of the times I got to come home, and Sean and I, like, I feel like we talked for hours about some of this stuff, about this movie, or phone calls or something. But yeah, this is another movie I've only watched a couple of times. And it's, definitely worth watching. It's, excuse me.
That's Jesse sneezing, everybody. You're paying attention.
Almost sneezing.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Yeah. I covered for you.
I heard. It's a great movie, and this final sequence is just amazing, because it's like, the son's been looking for the dad to like invest in him, but the dad also wanted the son to like come into his world, and it's a really powerful moment. Definitely a crying moment for me, for sure.
Yeah, because the one way it's different than me and my father is the son became very serious, and he grew up I think he's a reporter, if I remember right, or he's a writer of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, it's like he's everything that he wanted his dad to be for him, but he never did it. And then the dad's always telling these crazy stories like he's a kid, So I don't, that isn't quite how my dynamic worked, but watching the ending today just made me go, I forgot about that dynamic, and it's actually really fun. Like the kid making himself be the adult because his dad never was a proper adult for him and all that. So.
Awesome.
I guess it's time for the last one.
Down to you, bud.
The number one.
Well, the last number one.
The number one-iest.
So surprise, surprise, it is an animated movie. Spoiler alert. This movie's been out for a while, so I feel like I can say this. Sorry, Trevor. I don't know if this is yours. I don't know what you're thinking, Trevor. Hit us in the comments. But Hiccup saying goodbye to Toothless at the end of the third How to Train Your Dragon movie. I'm not trying to start a fight, but for me personally, the How to Train Your Dragon is the perfect trilogy.
We're gonna fight. No.
I said
it is a very good trilogy,
because each movie stands on its own. But they also build off the previous ones in ways where like you can watch any one of them at any given time. You don't have to have watched everything to feel the impact of them.
Certainly better than the last 3 Star Wars movies. Am I right?
Well, the thing that gets me about this moment is and you can make fun of George Lucas, for saying the whole thing about like, oh, the sequels, they repeat stuff from the original trilogy. It's poetry. It rhymes.
It rhymes.
Yeah. This does like Jurassic Park. The movie starts with, they land in the helicopter, they get in the Jeep pulls up, and the door opens, and it's like the clean, fresh logo on the nice, freshly painted Jeep. And then, at the end of the movie, the Jeep's pulling up to the helicopter pad to leave, and it's like damaged and muddy and everything. Like things like that really stand out to me. So this moment in How to Train Your Dragon 3, when he's saying goodbye, like you kind of feel it's coming, but they mimic the scene, at the beginning of the story. In the first one, he reaches his hand out. I was trying to find that picture, but I couldn't find a still of it, where Hiccup turns his head away and reaches his hand out, and Toothless puts his face into his hand when he's looking away. they do that in reverse here, where he puts his hand on it and looks away, and then Toothless pulls away. And it just wrecks me. You know, but again, it's one of those things where like they've both matured, they've grown. It's part celebratory. Okay, Trevor. Yes. So Trevor saying I wanted to pick that one, but I could only pick 3. Like I said, I could spend an entire 2-hour episode talking about things that make me cry, and the last 20 minutes of the Return of the King would fit all of those bills. So, but I chose this one.
Recall that part.
Oh, I do, but it was a happy moment. Like that made me feel good. I didn't feel sad at all when Aragorn said that.
It's not so much just it made me cry, but it's one of those things. It's one of those complicated, happy cries because of everything they went through. So yeah, that almost made it, Trevor. But I figured it would be not that anyone else would pick it, but I was trying to pick some things that were maybe a little less on the nose.
Jesse was going for as obscure as he could.
No, I could have gone a lot more obscure. But it was in my photos till I decided to go with that moment, like just hearing the music, the hobbits go to bow down, and Aragorn's just like, no, my friends, you bow to no one, and then like everyone else in the world bows down to them, and then all kind of like, what? Like it just, yeah. Especially if you watch it after you've watched like all 3 of them back to back, like it gets me every time. But if you do the whole trilogy in one sitting, or close to, forget it. But yeah, this is my number one. Hiccup saying goodbye to Toothless.
It's a good one. I mean, I absolutely love that series. It's a good moment. I don't know that I would say it's my favorite trilogy of all time, but it's definitely up there. I mean, it's got all the makings of definitely being in that conversation. And that's an excellent moment to choose for what the topic is at hand, for sure. So,
yeah.
I haven't watched those, but
maybe for animated movies, they are really good.
My kids like them a lot. At least the original one. I know they watched. I just, for some reason, never ended up watching that one with them. So
it is weird to see Vikings all with like Scottish accents, but whatever. It's a creative choice.
Yeah.
But they're funny. The music in that movie, the whole trilogy is fantastic. Like I've watched a couple of like YouTube breakdowns where they go through and like, all right, this is part of the Hiccup score, this is part of the Toothless score. All right, here's where they like merge together and become one. Like I fully realize forget it.
Well, I don't think we're gonna get more people watching tonight, but Joe, I'll leave it up to you. Do you want to still do the Templar and do one more giveaway?
Let's save it for the next one.
Okay.
When we hit 400, I'll drop that. Plus,
which we're at
some better
what
stuff.
Are we at 320 something right now?
330. We actually got 2 more subscribers during the show. So
okay, cool. And you never know. Maybe the Legion's Quest thing will bring some more subscribers in. So cool.
Yeah.
We ready to move to This Week in Theaters?
Are you clicking at the same time as I am?
No, I wasn't. I was clicking on my screen. But here we go. Random number generator. We'll go 1982 to 2010. I do want a follow-up to last week. There was a great bunch of movies last week. It was one of the better weeks that we had. And I went kind of like off the beaten path and picked a Gene Wilder movie, Hanky Panky. It was a bad choice. There were much better movies on that list. So just FYI. I still love Gene Wilder. He was really good in it, but the movie itself was not great. So
before we get into the topic here, I did want to throw out just to point out my own folly here, and I'm interested to hear Sean's thought, because I didn't give Sean the stipulation. I didn't think he was going to pick it, but I said to the guy, I was thinking about it, and one of the first three moments that come to mind are the hobbits, Artax from drowning in the swamp in Neverending Story,
I didn't think of that.
and Optimus Prime's death in the animated Transformers movie in '86. So Sean, I told them, I was like, hey guys, blah blah blah, and we thought we picked what we were going to do, and I was like, well, just kind of like with the Castle Grayskull thing on the
best play
sets. Yeah. I was like, don't pick Optimus Prime, because I figured, a lot of guys our age, in that range, that's going to be a standout moment. But everybody was like, why'd you say that? And like nobody picked it. I was like, oh, okay, all right. I was trying to do parameters.
Yeah. I mean, I think with best playset, I think most people that collect toys, if you think of playset, probably the first thing you think of, even if it's not your favorite, probably the first thing you think of is Castle Grayskull. And I just don't know, as impactful as that moment was, I don't know that that's the first thing that most people think of. So I thought it was okay to be in the running. I kind of thought that somebody would pick it, but yeah, I mean,
for me, and I could probably do a freaking dissertation on this movie at some point. That was the part of the movie that didn't have me in tears. It actually had me go, what now? Because it literally, you took the king off the chessboard. Where's this movie going? It had me even more locked in to find out how this is going to end without the hero,
that wasn't the sad moment of that movie. The sad moment of that movie was Starscream dying. So
that was like watching that moment actually made me go, I feel horrible for Starscream. Like, I remember thinking, out of any way I've seen somebody die so far, he literally was like just crumbled to death. Like, oh my God. I mean, the one that was probably the most like, holy crap, was when Prowl's eyes dim and the smoke comes out of his mouth. Because that was the closest I've ever seen something die right in my face, even though it was a cartoon. It just was so like, you literally saw the life disappear from his eyes. It freaked me out, but I was like, this is going to where this show won't ever go. What the crap am I in for?
The other sad moment was seeing Hot Rod turn from this amazing like sports car to a shitty ass fucking vehicle that you drive your kids in.
So here's the thing about that for me. And I'll just throw this out here because I know you have your issue with that. The thing for me was, as cool as it was when he finally got the Matrix and everything lined up, and thank God for Stan Bush and that song, it made me sad to see him aging before my eyes and go like, he can't be fun anymore. He's taking care of business version of him now. He's not able to, let's burn rubber and all that stuff like in the beginning of the movie. And there was an element of that when I was a kid going, man, I was rooting for Hot Rod, but now he's old. That's what? Like, I don't want him to pay taxes. I want him to go and do like other stuff like he was doing in the movie and all that. And I just met him. I literally just met him and he aged 30 years before my eyes. What the crap happened? So
the other moment that I toyed around putting in there is the ending speech to Scrooged, which I've talked about before, but it's such a holiday themed movie and like we only watch it around Christmas time, so I didn't want to include that in this list, but that is one that definitely gets me at the end there. So
well, the main thing that this has done for me doing this little segment here is made me feel emotionally maladjusted, because I can be sad without crying. You guys made me feel really awkward, so thank you for that.
I will say that up until I was probably, I would say till I was 40, I never cried at like anything, like, things in real life, movies, whatever. Something about like after turning 40 and, like Sean was saying, having kids and stuff. I don't know. Like there's things affect me a lot more now. So
So,
Oh man, I've always been a crybaby. Benji the Hunted, when that eagle comes in and like scoops up that little mountain lion cub, and freaking yeah, everything. Just a crier.
Well,
So-
if you feel sad, just rub some dirt on it.
can I
There you
share
go.
really quickly?
Oh, yeah.
When Jesse messaged me and asked if I could pinch hit tonight for this, I was like, sure. And then I literally was like, I don't know if I can name 3. I got too many, and I don't know if I could do this like 3, 2, 1. And I actually was at the playground with my kids making a list to remember all the ones, and I was asking my daughter even, and there's like one that she catches me every time. Milan, the animated movie Milan, at the very end of the movie where when she brings back the sword of the leader of the Huns to her father, or no, it was the emperor's sword, as a sign of like honor to her family again. And literally her dad just gets up and grabs her and hugs her, and he says, the greatest honor is having you for a daughter. Before I even had kids, I cried at that moment, because I'm like, that's something, number one, my dad would never do, and number two, that's awesome that he did it. But I wanted to share the ones that didn't make it really quick, and I'm not going to go crazy with these. I'll just say what they are real quick. One of them was The Greatest Showman, the This Is Me segment, where they sing the song This Is Me, because that song is amazing, and what it's about in that whole scene is great. The another one, and I know Curtis will love this, Galaxy Quest, when Quailic dies and Alan Rickman does the by Grabthar's hammer, by the sons of Warvan, you shall be every time. The look on that guy's face when he's saying that gets me, because it's literally he's just giving him that extra oomph right before the guy is going to see darkness and know, I said it to you and I meant it more than I've ever said it to anybody in my entire life, and it mattered to you that much. Love that. And then the final one,
before you give the final
my wife
one,
almost almost shot her drink out of her nose when I told her this was
wait. Before you give your final one, can I take a guess?
I don't think anybody's going to get this, but feel free.
Because I thought you would
ahead.
have one on the list that's not on there. I thought Love Actually was going to be on there. There's several moments in that movie that I thought you might have picked.
Seriously, that one, I like it. It's heartwarming. It doesn't like, the only one I could think of in that one is probably like the Aurelia story, because the town going with him to go see her and when he was going to propose gets me a little bit. But no, this is going to make everybody laugh, and then I'm never going to have credit again, and I don't care. I'll admit it right now. Summer of, I think it was either 89 or 90. There's this little movie called Jetsons the Movie that comes out, right? And I like the Jetsons, and I go see this movie, and everything's all well and good until the end of the movie. And it just, every damn movie, it's like the ending of the movie gets me. So it's they're mining it's like Spacely's mining in the movie to get ore for new sprockets or whatever. And they're finding out that they're ruining the habitat of these little things called grungies that look like Ewoks. Okay. And when George finds out that they're ruining the habitat, he actually like almost screws up the entire thing so that the grungies can live. And Spacely has to come up with another way of making sprockets, which they end up figuring this all out by the end of the movie. So basically, George's job is redundant, and they flat out go, well, now we have to leave. And they like moved across the galaxy to get to this thing or whatever. So now they go back to their normal home. And at the very end, they're leaving and they're sad, saying goodbye and all this stuff. And when they get in the car and they're flying away on the landing area where they just flew off from, all the grungies, the little Ewok guys, actually form the words "Thanks, George" in letters. They like stand together as like "Thanks, George" as they're flying by. And I was probably 11 when I saw that, and I was just like bawling in the theater. My mom's like, "It's this Jetsons the Movie. Get your act together." And I'm like, "But they thanked him because he saved them," and I was losing my shit. So that one I will admit completely, and my wife is just like, "You are a freaking moron. I'm going to bed." So there was that.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have guessed that one. So
I knew nobody would guess it.
I was
That's
actually
why I thought it'd be
thinking
fun to share.
Love Actually when the guy that's like the rock star when he shows up at on Christmas or whatever, shows up at his buddy's house. Like I was thinking that moment,
I love that.
where he tells him that he loves him. Yeah.
Are the fucking love of my life.
Right.
Let's get pissed and watch porn.
So I actually just thought of one that I had completely spaced that probably
so
would
you've
have
cried
been
4 times in your life.
Yeah, now that I remember it. Yeah. This actually probably would have been my number one if I had thought of it before, like just now. Daredevil season 2, when the Punisher is talking about his kids dying and he's going into the detail of like, say, he just saw meat where his daughter's face used to be.
Yeah.
Oh,
holy moly. Yeah. I think you'd have to be something wrong with you if you didn't cry at that. He put so much emotion into that scene, and the subject matter was so awful. That one actually would have been my number one if I had thought.
Well, we appreciate you sharing, but we would have disqualified you because it's not a movie. So, all right.
It's got to be.
Here we go.
Damn it. Okay.
Lord and Savior, huh? Bang.
Yeah, let's spin that random number generator. We can't do 1982. We just did that last week. It's going to be the same movies. So let's try again. 1998. That'll work.
Ooh.
All right. Where does she have it? There you go. All right. We are on weekly. Let's go to 1998. And we are looking for Junetober 14th.
It's actually
right
June-vember.
here. What's that?
It's Junevember.
Oh, sorry. Number one movie at the box office this week. So anyway, sorry. For those that haven't seen this before, we have just taken a time machine back to 1998. We are the age that we are now, not the age that we were in 1998. We've walked into a theater. We can go to the top 10 movies from that week. Any of the movies that are on that list, we have to pick one from the top 10. Here are the 10 that we have to choose from. Number one at the box office that week is The Truman Show. An insurance salesman discovers that his whole life is actually a reality show. Then we've got 6 Days, 7 Nights. Robin Monroe, a New York Magazine editor, and the gruff pilot Quinn Harris must put aside their mutual dislike if they were to survive a crash after a crash landing on a deserted South Seas island. Then we've got A Perfect Murder. Wealthy Wall Street speculator discovers that his wife has a lover. He investigates him and uses the carrot and stick to make him murder his wife. Planned to detail, it seems like a perfect murder. Next, we've got Can't Hardly Wait. A complete graduating class consisting of beautiful girls, geeks, and promising footballers assemble at a rich classmate's residence for a party. Interesting developments follow at the get-together. Then we've got Godzilla, French nuclear test, irradiate an iguana into a giant monster that heads off to New York City. The American military must chase the monster across the city to stop it before it reproduces. Then we've got Hope Floats, if it'll open. Bertie Calvert must choose between her morals and her heart after her husband divorces her, and a charming young man who her daughter disapproves of comes back into her life. Deep Impact. Comet is discovered to be on a collision course with Earth. As doomsday nears, the human race prepares for the worst. That was in the years where we had a lot of fear of asteroids colliding with us and comets colliding with us. And yes. Next, we've got The Horse Whisperer. Mother of a severely traumatized daughter enlists the aid of a unique horse trainer to help the girl's equally injured horse.
Based on a true story.
Then we've got Dirty Work. Loser finds success in the revenge for hire business. And last but not least, we have Titanic. 17-year-old aristocrat falls in love with a kind but poor artist aboard the luxurious, ill-fated RMS Titanic. Those are the 10 that we have to choose from. We are starting from the bottom. Jesse, what are you seeing?
Can't hardly wait.
Okay.
I've seen probably most of the movies on this list. I've never seen Horse Whisperer, or I don't think I've seen Hope Floats. But I don't know if I saw 6 Days, 7 Nights because I refused. But yeah, I can't hardly wait. I just remember going to that. It was the year after I graduated from high school, so it still felt, even though they're all like 35-year-olds playing teenagers, it felt like it just felt, relatable and all this. Not that I ever went to a party like that, but just like the attitudes and, it was late 90s teenagers, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I just remember having a lot of fun seeing that movie with friends, and I haven't watched it in forever, so I would go watch that again.
All right. Sean, what are you seeing?
I know I saw Deep Impact more than once that summer. I like that one better than Armageddon for some reason. Probably because that one didn't make me cry. That was another one, the freaking Daddy No and all that one with the
oh, that's rough.
That. Oh,
yeah.
Yep.
But the one that I wouldn't mind going to now, just out of sheer curiosity, is seeing how horrible the Godzilla one was, because I've never sat through it.
Gotcha.
So I'll go with that.
Okay. I was considering the Godzilla. It's a terrible movie, but it's one of those, it's big screen,
Yep.
big monster on the screen. Some good music. That's the one where they had Jimmy Page and Puff Daddy did that song, and it's really good music in there. But it's such a bad movie that I don't think I can go with that. So I think I'm gonna go see Dirty Work. I think, seeing some funny Norm Macdonald would be great. After his passing, like I've been watching a lot of his stuff after his passing, and man, he's just so funny. So I think that would be a good one to see. Joe?
This is a tough one. I don't know. I usually go off of what I'd like to see on the big screen, and none of these really. Like the Godzilla movie, I don't think it was a bad movie. It was just not a good Godzilla movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they had named it something else, I think I probably
Giant Iguana movie.
Yeah, like Giant Iguana. Just name it Giant Iguana, and I probably would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah,
without that connection to Godzilla.
I mean, Deep Impact is a good theater experience movie. If that's what you're,
I don't think I've ever seen that one. I guess Truman Show.
Okay.
I like Jim Carrey movies. They usually make me laugh. I know I've watched that one. I don't remember a lot about it, but I think I enjoyed it. This was a rough week for me. Yeah.
Let's check out the comments. Rice Baby says Deep Impact, really great movie. And I think that's all we got. No other. If anybody else has one, let us know.
Joke says Dirty Work, Norm's fine work.
Oh, okay. All right. He also says Artie still had a nose. That's true.
I don't know what that means.
Artie Lang. It's sad. Anyway.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. And usually we will look and see how long things have been at the box office. So we've got Titanic at 26 weeks, still holding in the top 10. But also 26 weeks at 13, as good as it gets.
I like that.
So, yeah,
love that movie.
That did a lot better than I thought it did. Everything else was fairly new in the top 10. So, that's about it. Anything else on this?
I've still never watched Titanic.
You're not missing
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I already knew how it ended, so it wasn't really appealing to me.
All right. I think that's a show, guys. We'll kind of go around and talk about our what stuff we got going on. Start with Joe. Joe, you want to tell these fine folks where they can find you?
Gregory Schmerber had me on to record an episode of New to Mythics.
Nice.
So I'm not sure when he's going to be dropping that, but that will be coming, and with my new internet. So
wouldn't you be more like old to Mythics?
You know, I was going to ask about that, like why he chose me, and I'm not a new collector. But then I thought, why are you going to ask a question that might get you off the show? So I was just like, it doesn't matter.
Maybe the new to Mythics isn't the people he has on his guest, but it's the people that are watching, and they could learn a lot from you since you have every figure in the line.
Every figure?
Yeah, every figure.
Nice.
At some point, I was new, so. But
that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So
yeah, check out New to Mythics with Joe.
And just check it out anyways. I've been watching them, and the people that are new to Mythics, it's fun. It's a fun series to watch.
And I heard you've got a new D&D type thing going on.
I do. We do. So yes, Allegiance Quest will be bi-weekly, opposite of
Legion's Lounge.
I just wanted to make sure I said the right second half. Just making sure my head was straight. Yeah, it's going to be a D&D game with some mythic flair sprinkled in.
Cool.
Our first episode is up right now. If anybody wants to check it out, I had a lot of fun dungeon mastering that game. So if anybody likes D&D or wants to see what D&D is about, I definitely recommend checking it out. So
yeah, and I'm still new to the whole D&D experience, but I am getting to understand the whole concept of a team really forming and generating and like synergizing around their dislike of their dungeon master. So that is something that I'm really getting acquainted with. So
that is 100% accurate. Yeah. It's my job.
I have yet to experience that.
All right, cool. So I will go next. Tomorrow, Jesse and I are going to be live from the Purple Shelf, where we're basically taking over Purple Gang Live. So we will be there tomorrow, doing our kind of normal show. We will have Raylan Chisholm as a guest, Purple Ray. And I'm sure there'll still be some videos and shenanigans and whatnot at play, but it'll be, for the most part, a kind of Curtis and Jesse show. So that's what we've got next. And Sean, got anything coming up that people should be looking forward to?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay. All right.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. Anytime that you want to come in, you're more than welcome.
I am job. That's all I got.
All right.
As they said to Mrs. Doubtfire.
Jesse, you want to tell the people who we've got Sunday night, what we got going on?
What? Sunday night, Shooting the Shelf, 8:00 Eastern time. Curtis and I will be there with a guest you might know from the chat as, I don't know why I'm doing like a Christopher Walken thing here. A very bad one at that. Dylan, aka Legends Collector 1321.
1321. Yeah, the other 13 and 120, those guys, listen, we tried to get them on the shows. They're too busy. They got other stuff going on. You know, they're too famous for us. But 1321 is going to be with us. Yeah. He said, hey, definitely bring me on. He was excited about it, actually. So those other first 1320 can just go to hell, really. So.
Oh, well, I mean, Or maybe there aren't 1,320 and he just likes those numbers.
Oh, never mind then. That's probably why they didn't answer my emails. They don't exist. Okay.
I can't imagine. I mean, I'm not saying you're not a hard worker, but I can't imagine you emailing 1,320 other people.
That's exactly what I did.
Okay.
So,
all right, looks like you are, Greg.
We also have other stuff that pops up here and there. We've got some rats that Jesse and I do, which is random ass things. We've got some Wednesday one shots. We've got, I think there's been 1 or 2 Have You Evers posted on the OffWorld channel. So there's some other stuff going on. Check out our channels between Legends of Grayskull, Let's Go Offworld, and Just Shelve It. That's pretty much where all of our stuff is at. So check it out. Except for tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we'll be on Purple Gang Gang. So check out that YouTube.
And come hang out with us in the Legend Daddies Facebook group.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where you can know about everything. And Sunday, Customizing Studio. If you're into creating, painting, sculpting, any sort of customizing, or just want to hang out with some cool people that are, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let us know, and we'll get you in there. So.
All right, Carlo, again, this was another one. Braveheart is my #1 favorite single movie of all time.
And that doesn't make me cry. That makes me cringe. That is like
cry when he sees his wife in the crowd and you realize his friends are not going to rescue him. I was like, but yeah,
that's not even the moment for me. It's when they do the "You bled with Wallace, now bleed with me," and they throw the sword in the air. That's the part that gets me. And then the bagpipes kick in and everybody's Scottish for a day. It's awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be a great holiday. Scottish for a day. All right. I think that's it. Thanks everybody for watching. Anybody that's on replay, guess what? You got to see it this week because we didn't get kicked off. So there you go.
I feel like we should do that because I wasn't here for it, but I feel like there should be fair use because
that's what I was told. But I don't know all the ins and outs of YouTube, but Dorclair said that since we were critiquing and judging like best whatever, and we're also not monetized, that it should have fallen under free use and we shouldn't have gotten that taken off. But what are you gonna do? So anyway,
let's look into it.
Until next time, we'll see you on the OffWorld.